Many IELTS aspirants struggle to describe the structure of a line graph with approximate statistical figures or numbers and end up losing bands in Academic Writing Task 1. In this video, I will explain the exact method to describe a line graph with appropriate numbers or figures, but in terms of proportion, ratio, as well as numbers. If you find this video helpful, then please like, share, and subscribe IELTS Material YouTube channel. Hello everyone, this is Yesha, your IELTS expert with IELTSmaterial.com, helping you to prepare for IELTS, write correct answers, and get a higher band score in your IELTS examination. Now let's discuss the exact method to illustrate a line graph. Before moving on to the steps to describe the line graph, let's learn a few vocabulary, or let's learn a few other words to describe a line graph, which will help you in describing the trends or the patterns. Now here we are. This is a small exercise, or we can call it as a preparation task. Number one, to account for. You need to give me the answer in the comment section. What does the vocabulary mean to account for? The second one is to shrink. The third one is steady. Fourth is to overtake. 5, to illustrate. 6, to peak. Now here we have the definition, the different definitions, and you need to match the correct definition with the vocabulary. Definition A says to show, B, to reach the highest point, C, to cause or explain, to get smaller is the fourth one, E, regular and continuous without sudden changes, to go past something by being bigger or faster, etc. Here you need to match, or you actually need to know what exactly does the vocabulary define. So I will give you an example that the first one says to account for means to cause or explain. The meaning of to account for is to explain about something, and hence the answer is C. So my answer for the first one will match to C. Next is you also have to give the answers. I am doing my exercise. To shrink means to get smaller. You shrink or you compress. Steady, the meaning of steady is to be stable. So I would connect it to E, regular and continuous without sudden changes. Next is to overtake. The meaning of overtake is to go past something by being faster or bigger, etc. So we'll go here for to overtake. Next is to illustrate. The meaning of illustrate is to show something or to describe something. Hence, I would take it here to the first one. To peak, that means to reach the highest point, and even the meaning of the peak is to reach the highest place of the mountain or to reach the highest height of the mountain. So to peak means to reach the highest point. Hence, the correct answers are to account for means to cause or explain. To shrink means to get smaller. Steady means regular and continuous without sudden changes. To overtake means to go past something by being bigger or faster, etc. To illustrate means to show, and to peak means to reach the highest point. Now let's discuss this line graph, and here I will explain you the categories and what important features have to be considered. First of all, if we see the categories, then there are 3 categories. One which is streaming, the other one which is downloaded, and the third one where you buy or you purchase a CD. This particular line graph is talking about the number of people, how they buy music. So there are 3 ways of buying music. This particular category, or I would say all these categories, are explained with the help of percentages. And these are described in terms of a time period, that is year, which starts from 2011 and ends by 2018. We have three different categories which are explained with three different structures. Let's take streams, which started from a very low position and it has shown a steady increase. And this is the area which is actually showing an increase. The other two are showing a decrease. They started from a very good percentage and finally are showing a decrease. But if I talk about the downloads, it is showing a peak. This is called as peak. You also have to consider in which year is it showing the peak. It is showing the peak in the year 2014. This is the way how you actually analyze the graph and find out the main features, and hence these main features will be explained in detail when you are properly explaining the graph. Now, this is the structure, or I would say the tips to align your answer or to align the main features that we exactly saw from the graph. The first one is I will write the first introductory paragraph by introducing my answer as this graph shows will be converted into properly analyzing the exact type of the graph, that is the line graph illustrates. That is, I have properly understood what type of graph it is and finally giving my answer with changing the word shows into illustrates. Next is I will write my second paragraph as the overall statement where I am going to describe this particular overall statement as a result of the complete graph. Let's say that there were two categories, that is the downloads and the purchase, which showed a decrease over the years, and the category of streaming showed a steady increase by the year 2018. This is what I am explaining to a friend. It is a kind of explanation given to a friend. That particular friend is not able to see the graph, but he will be understanding the main feature with my explanation. So the second paragraph is called as the overview of the main points the graph shows. Imagine you are describing the results to someone who can't see the graph. So it will just be explained in 2 sentences and not more than that. Next, the following paragraphs will be the detailed explanation of the patterns of all the 3 categories with the exact structure pattern, like where it took a peak or where it started decreasing, from where it started increasing, all these features in detail, explaining the percentages or the proportion. Finally, I will use precise vocabulary like steadily declined or it has shown a sharp increase to describe the trends. And I will also be using linking expressions to make comparisons, like for example, while and in contrast, or I can say on the other hand. I can also use additionally, I can also say similarly, I can also say in contrary, or I can also talk about different various linking expressions to show the comparison or linking the ideas. Finally, the question asks you only to summarize the information where you're not going to give the reason why the purchasing declined or why the streamline actually increased. I'm not going to give any reason for any of the category. So this is just, you need to understand that you're going to summarize your information. If you want to learn the steps to elaborate the structure of pie charts in Academic Writing Task 1, then check out our video on structure of pie chart in I button or video description. Finally, let's discuss the answer to this particular line graph. Let's see how the introduction is presented. The graph, or I would say the line graph, illustrates trends in music buying habits. Or the question was how people buy music, and that has been changed into music buying habits between 2011 and 2018. It presents 3 different methods. The first one is streaming, the second one is downloading, and the third one is buying CDs. Next is, this is called as an overall statement. Overall, both downloads and physical sales of music have steadily declined. This is actually showing a decrease. You can see that very clearly. The latter has slumped since 2011. The meaning of latter is they are talking about sales of music, that is the physical sales of music, while the downturn for the former began in 2014. This former is actually talking about downloads. However, there has been a sharp rise in people streaming music since 2013. So after 2013, the proper increase was seen in the category of streaming. This is called as overall statement, where I'm just giving the outline of all the three categories, or just showing the outline pattern of all the three categories. Now coming to the detailed explanation, let's start with the majority of the sales, or the majority of the music sales were of CDs at 55% of all the sales, where in the explanation, I have started using the numbers. In contrast, streaming was not common at all at only 5%. So I am comparing. I'm comparing the sales of CDs and the category of streaming, where this is showing a hike and this is at the lower trend. Also, although people had started to download music, it only represented 35% of sales in the year 2011. So initially, they're talking about the year 2011, and they have explained all the three categories. Now, as sales of CDs began to fall, downloads started to rise. They rose steadily, and downloads overtook physical sales in mid-2013. So you can see very clearly that downloads actually took a steady increase, and it showed a peak in the year 2014. But by the time the sales, that is the physical sales of CDs, has started decreasing or had started decreasing. And you can see the intersection here, which is showing that this particular category is decreasing and this particular category is increasing. They have also showed the year as mid-2013. During the same period, streaming doubled to 10%, from 5 to 10, exactly 10. But then it started to grow more dramatically. Downloads peaked in 2014. As I said, this is the peak, and that is in 2014 at about 43% of sales, but fell to 30% by 2018. After showing the peak of 2014, the sentence clearly explains about the decline, and the decline till 2018. Next is, this was slightly higher than physical sales, which shrank to 25%. Streaming, on the other hand, so as I said, you can use on the other hand to explain the contrasting term, overtook both of them and accounted, that is, explained for just over 40% of sales in 2018, or it is as a result showing an increase of 40% of sales in 2018. In this manner, the overall statement is actually explained in detail in the following paragraphs, in the two paragraphs where you will be using different numbers. You can also use proportions or fractions to describe the numbers, and this is called as using a range of structures to show the grammatical range and accuracy. So I hope this has actually explained properly how to construct a proper line graph, or how to write a report on line graph. I hope this video will give you a clarity on how to link the ideas in a line graph. If you find this video effective to clearly understand the tips of writing a report on the line graph, then please let us know about the same in the comment section below. For more free IELTS learning, follow our channel, and for this video, do like, share, and subscribe IELTS Material YouTube channel for more IELTS exam updates. Thank you.